And welcome back to the final match of the day where you will see my budget being completely destroyed.
Because of that ship on your screen right now. That is an Adrestia, and it is a gorgeous, powerful ship, but it's also very vulnerable.
Absolutely. Pandemic Legion coming on the field with two Proteus, Atresia, two Celestis, Blackbird and Enio team against the Enchantress setup from Agony Empire. A triple Hyperion, 3 Enios and Tristans. Now this is a setup that PL actually had on their pocket very early on in this tournament practice, and we have tested extensively against this setup. And if I remember right, the Enchantress beats the Proteus team.
Wow, this could be amazing. One way or another, this Adrestia is going to be in a huge amount of danger, and we might see a super expensive explosion. I remember back in my days on the tournament teams, working for Adrestia setups, trying to come up with great ones. They won a lot of the time, but they almost always lost the Adrestias.
That's right. That's why I said my budget is going to be gone, but that's okay. We're going to see some pretty explosions as the match gets underway. Pandemic Legion slowly starts inching towards the Agony Empire setup. They are not in a hurry. They want to Agony Empire to come over to you. These Hyperions will need to burn their capacitor. MW leading towards that Pandemic Legion setup. Pandemic Legion have, of course, like we have seen many times, put up a screen of Enios up onto their paths.
Yep, so both teams came in at long range. PL easily winning this EW war. They've got gems, they've got damps. Tracking disruptors would have been very powerful against the Hyperions, but they don't appear to have any of those. That being said, though, the damp jam combo going to be very, very effective against that Aneros. We'll have to see how well they can get it actually jammed down.
The control power on Pandemic Legion side massively long. Those jams are hitting. Almost everything except the Hyperions are jammed right now. Damage still coming on to the Pandemic Legion side. The Enio of Max Butch is taking damage. Of course, being armor-based setup, it is not in trouble yet. Damage being applied to multiple ships on the Agony Empire side with an Incursus and an Enio.
That Adrestia is not shy. It's dived right between all three of the Hyperions to get on top of the Aneros for Agony Empire. And it is sitting right there on top of the Aneros. It's getting scrams. And it is right there in the thick of the fight.
And of course, the Oneros is jammed, dampened, and scrammed, while this Enio is not catching any reps whatsoever on Agony Empire side. Enio on off Silas is in structure.
It's getting a lot of rep drones, though. So those rep
the
drones...
Enchantress, of course. Enchantress meeting, once again, a Dota hero which controls a lot of minions, but not enough of rep drones. Silas in an Enio goes down with the first Enio on the Pandemic Legion side, taking massive damage. Death Affinity dipping in and out of half armor, but so far the Oneros of Thinking is keeping him repped. And the first Hyperion now taking damage, while the Oneros is under pressure as well on the Agony side.
Yep, it looks like they're actually primarying the Aneros. We've seen a lot of blaster fire against that Aneros.
It looks like now Pandemic Legion has swapped over their jams to those Hyperions. The Oneros is not jammed, it is just dampened, wept, scrammed and taking damage, but look at those massive amount of those armor reps.
Yeah, I mean, the notable thing here, these Hyperions do not have ECCM running. So ECCM is a module you can put in your mid slots that makes you more resistant to electronic warfare. They don't have them on these ships. You'd be able to see a very distinctive effect around it. That is really going to hurt them in this fight against all of these Blackbirds.
Now, if Pandemic Legions plays this like we have many times in the tournament practice against this Enchantress setup, in fact, we should see these Enios starting to kill these rep drones. Once these rep drones are off the field, this Oneros should start falling faster. And right now, it looks like they have killed enough of these rep drones. The Oneros of Oli Geist is falling to half armor, while Agony Empire is priming a Proteus.
Yeah, I mean, it might be the only thing that they feel like they can hit at this point. Maybe they're too heavily damped with the Hyperions, but one way or another, it is taking quite a bit of damage.
It is taking massive amount of damage. It is falling into half armor and below, but...
Wow, if that goes down before Oli Geist and the Oneros does, that will be a huge loss for Pandemic Legion and could swing the match. That being said, he's pulling back a little bit. Man, that was very, very, very close. Oli Geist now dropping through armor quickly. At the moment, he just has... Well, nope, I think that's all of the rep drones now cleared off of him. I think this may be a case where PL's experience with this kind of setup is what swings it.
Perhaps, as I said, I have ran this Enchantress Hyperion team myself many times in the tournament practices. I think what happened there is a couple of these Hyperions got unjammed and applied a huge amount of damage, because when these Hyperions get get on jam, they do massive amount of damage. But Ollie Geist in an on-arrows is now in half structure,
and
falling
slipping
fast.
Through.
Slipping through, and he is gone.
So now Pandemic Legion, I'm sure, is going to start picking off these frigates.
Yes, now the right move here is to kill these Tristans, kill these Incursuses. They're in no trouble at the moment whatsoever because they can apply all of those jams back to these Hyperions while working on these frigates. And as we see, Rodex in an Incursus is now in deep trouble. He is falling into structure while no damage whatsoever seems to be
no,
being
it looks
applied
like
to
almost
Pandemic
everyone
Legion side
is jammed out. All the Hyperions appear not to be able to really fire, or at least not to be able to track what they are firing upon. Yeah, I'm not seeing any gun effects from them right now, and that's a lot of control from Pandemic Legion. Dankel's Adrestia still just kind of running around, hanging out near the Hyperion. So if they do all get unjammed at once, he might get vaporized.
That's right.
That would be some excellent TV.
Then Dankel, of course, being the pilot who has flown these expensive ships for Pandemic Legion many times in the tournament and many times in our practice, which is kind of surprising because we all think he is absolutely terrible at Eve. And apparently other games as well.
Yeah. Well, the now just all the last of these frigates dropping through structure fast. The Enyos do a lot of damage. So this team for Pandemic Legion, this is a pretty solid all-around setup, I think. The Proteuses and Drestia for damage, Celestis and Blackbirds for E-War, and then Enyos for both tackle and even more damage. It's a pretty solid control team.
Absolutely, and this is exactly its mission. It is a control team. It has a lot of scrams, a lot of webs, and then it has those crucial Blackbirds with Celestises. And yes, damage combined with ECM is a dangerous proposition for anyone.
I mean, one of the things that a lot of ECM teams often ignore at their peril is the damage of their team. They think that, well, you know what, we'll just slowly win the fight, we'll take forever, but that's fine. But in reality, ECM, because it's chance-based, the longer the fight goes, the worse off you're going to be. Eventually, stuff's going to go badly, you're going to get some unlucky jams. So what you need to do is use the ECM as a way to knock down possibly the logistics, or just to delay their damage, and then get in and kill some key ships really fast.
That's right. And as we see, the Hyperion belonging to Elvis Lives, Elvis Lives, is taking damage here. But so far, being able to rep in there, if this is indeed somehow a copy of our own Enchanter setup, this Hyperion has double reps, one of them ancillary or... auxiliary
large ancillary rep, large rep 2 is, I think, a very common setup. That's, I think, what we saw from a lot of the Hyperions earlier in the tournament. I think it's just a very, very good setup, taking advantage of the rep bonus that Hyperion has as the last Enyo now for Agony dropping through. One of the things we've also haven't had many chances to talk about in the last couple of days because there hasn't been a lot of ECM, but we've talked about a lot in previous years, is the way that you often get a snowball effect with these E-War teams. If they lose a couple of key E-War ships fast, it can go very badly for them. But if they manage to clear some of the ships off the field, all of their jams and dams get concentrated on fewer and fewer and fewer targets. And as that happens, they get stronger and stronger, and you get into with the whole match sort of snowballing. And so that early bit of these matches is often what's most important.
That's right. Now that Pandemic Legion has managed to clear off all of these frigates, they're able to apply all of their jams very effectively, probably nothing whatsoever. If you see, in fact, the Agony Empire attack bar, the red, you do not even see a sliver of it. They are all completely jammed.
I think they all had nothing but rep drones. The rep drones are now dead, and they don't have any ability to do anything through the jams. Now, Dankel in the Adrestia is still sitting pretty much at 0 on them, doing all of his damage. So if they all get unjammed at once, then we may see a very expensive explosion. But I think he's counting on his jammers there to keep him alive. One way or another, that is a somewhat risky move, I think.
What we probably see here is now we have two Celestises being able to apply Scanrest dams across 3 Hyperions. They're not really worried about that damnation, but the combination of those jams together with those 2 Celestises worth of Scanrest jam just means that even if they get unjammed at any point in time, it's going to probably take them about 25-30 seconds to lock an Atresia, and that's not going to happen, unfortunately, this match.
Now that I think about it, I'm betting that if those Blackbirds miss all their jams, they'll call it out, and the Adrestia would run away.
Probably true. Probably true. The first Hyperion, Elvis lives. Elvis has left the building.
Yeah, he's down. They're now actually deciding to shoot the Damnation. Maybe trying to test whether it might be a shield blaster fit like CCP Rise has been a big fan of. It isn't, but one way or another, they know that they're probably not going to be able to kill any of these ships in the 1 minute left, so they're just trying to test out some tanks just in case.
Well, of course, they know that these Hyperions are indeed fitted with 2 local reps, and they saw how long it took to take down Elvis. And Damnation doesn't have a local rep, so that is the logical next target here in the next 30 seconds.
They might get him down, but one way or another, all it is going to be just that extra bit of money that they lose on the Damnation, that ISK in-game currency. One way or another, Pandemic Legion is going to be victorious here, knocking Agony Empire down. Agony Empire with a spectacular day overall. I mean, only losing to PL twice. There's no dishonor in that. I mean, they knocked out a lot of tournament greats. They did extremely well today, and they're a perennial tournament team that always does really creative, cool stuff. So I'm sure we're going to see them again next year. And this means that we're going to be seeing PL versus Ronin. Tomorrow,
brother.
And that'll be a best 2 out of 3. Then the winner of that will face the loser of Hydra and Exodus. And then the winner of that goes face the winner of Hydra and Exodus in the finals. So that's what we have in store for you tomorrow. This is our last match of the day, so this is Fozzie and Shadu signing out for today. We'll see you back tomorrow, but in the meantime, we'll send you back to Soundwave and the guys in the studio.